Tonight on Life on the Rock, we have Angelo Sabella from Courage. We'll see a Chris Stefanik video and much more. Welcome to Life on the Rock. Tonight our guest is Angelo Sabella. He is the program director for Courage International. They are a group that helps same-sex attracted people live chaste and fulfilling, fruitful lives. He's going to tell us his story of journey from living the gay lifestyle out in West Hollywood to a life of holiness and purity and commitment to the Lord.
One of the things that struck me about the interview was really just the peace of mind that he has. And I think he really hit upon something very vital, and that, God's not just looking for just perfection in us, although it says, be perfect as your Father is perfect in heaven. But we're going to fall. We're going to have struggles. But God is patient with us. We really see that. And he spoke of a process. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. God's training us. He's building us up. But you really see that, that peace living through Angelo's life. And I think that's a real strong testimony that we can all learn from. So we're now going to a Chris Stefanik video.
I want to live forever.
Sorry, guys. I got some potentially very bad news for you. Listen, if a dog dies and the kid's really distraught, it's not a bad idea to tell that kid, if you really need Fido in heaven to be happy, he'll be there. Technically, that's not a lie. But here's the thing, you probably won't need Fido in heaven to be happy. And that's really good news because he probably won't be there. Soul in Latin is anima, and anima is the thing that animates something. And St. Thomas Aquinas differentiated different types of anima, different types of soul. So there's a rational soul, which belongs to humans and angels. Below that, there's the animal soul, then plant soul. Anything that has life has a type of soul. Now, an animal soul, unlike a human soul, is dependent on its body for its existence. A human soul is higher than just the body, which is why we can dream of things, why we can act against our instincts, why we can conceptualize things that are metaphysical, beyond the physical, and animals just can't do that. That's also why St. Thomas Aquinas would say that if an animal dies, its soul goes away with it. Now, at the end of all things, there will be a new heaven and a new earth. So I suppose in that new heaven and new earth, there can actually be animals. But that reconstituted animal, that new animal, even if it might look and sound and act exactly like Fido, won't technically be Fido because Fido's soul is gone. Now, of course, that's just St. Thomas Aquinas, and we don't know this stuff for sure, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Now, why is it good to remember this stuff? Because the truth will set you free. And when you have disordered loves based on disordered beliefs, it leads you to a disordered life. Listen, I love pizza, but I love my kids more. If I love my kids the same degree that I love pizza, I'll have a very disordered life. If I love my animals, see that the love we owe something should correspond to its order in creation. If I have a love for my animals that's equal to the love I have for people, I'll live a disordered life. I'll do crazy stuff like, and you see people do this all the time. If there's a dangerous dog, keeping it around for too long, as if it's a child. Or if there's a dog that makes you miserable, you keep it around for years and years, despite the fact that it's making you miserable, because you have a disordered love for that dog that's equal to the love that you owe to people. All that being said, I get it. Losing an animal is extraordinarily sad. If you clicked on this video for comfort, I am sorry, and I can tell you what I'd tell a kid, and I really genuinely mean it. If you get to heaven and find that you really needed Fido there in order to be happy, he'll be there.
Angelo Sabella, welcome to Life on the Rock.
How you doing, Father? It's good to be here.
Well, you are a veteran to the show. Back in '03, I think you were on with Father John Harvey, the founder of Courage. Yeah.
I was many, many years ago,
Yeah.
yes. Co-founder, but first director he was, yes.
First director.
Yeah, yep.
And I wanted to have you on again. I met you at a Courage conference a little while back, and you have a strong, you just seem so firmly rooted in the church's teaching on chastity and and your own story, I think, is so important today to get out there. Tell us about your journey. What's happened for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been encouraged now for 25 years. I've been working for the apostolate, serving at the apostolate for 15. But yeah, so in my late teens, you know, I realized that I had this attraction, same-sex attraction. It was coming on strong, and like many, there was shame, there was lots of confusion. I didn't know really what to do with it. I ended up acting upon these feelings, giving into the feelings. So at the age of 22, I ended up leaving New York because I remember saying to myself, if you're going to get into this, you know, I went to California, so it's as far as you can go. I always wanted to go out there anyway, but so I went out to California, and I got further really immersed into the gay culture, the gay lifestyle, as they say. I started out in San Diego, and then I ended up in West Hollywood in California, which is a gay city. Yeah, you know, Father, it was just easier to be around others of who have the same feelings, who understood me at the time. So I just threw myself into it. I mean, I had partners. I engaged in quite a bit of sexual activity, and I mean, that's what I did. Recreational drugs. I mean, I got involved in all that, that many young people, not just same-sex attracted, but many young men and women get involved in, and it was a vengeance. It really took over my life for many years. I mean, I like to think it was like my passions were leading me in those years. Met some wonderful people, did some good work, but I was definitely ruled by my passions in those younger years out in California. Yeah.
Was there something, looking back on it all, maybe you were looking for, that there was a deeper hunger there?
Most definitely. I don't even know if I consciously knew it at the time, but there was a point where I thought I was having a nervous breakdown. I thought, you know, like many, you think, yeah, I thought I had it all. I thought life was going just wonderfully well, and I'm out in California. It's great and everything. But yeah, I started getting these like intrusive thoughts and things where life was just getting very chaotic. And I thought I was having a breakdown. Really, it was very, very serious for like close to a year, like having the same intrusive thought over and over again. And I just knew I needed help. I needed help really badly. So I cried out to, at the time, I have a brother who's a priest, and I called out to him, and he was instrumental at a metanoia, at getting me back on track, at getting me on track, if I may, more God-centered and such, and introducing that back into my life. I was so far removed from the faith and church teaching and who I was and who God was, and I was just floating out there in orbit. So that helped me immensely. And I also sought out some mental health. I mean, I remember going to a gay and lesbian clinic out there, and I had to see a psychologist because I was bad. It was really, really bad. But at that time, though, God was speaking to me. I mean, that's where he was opening himself up to me, and it just changed my life. I mean,
did you go back to confession and mass and things, or?
I did in time. In time, I did. But what I did initially, well, with my brother, I mean, he gave me some, if I may, spiritual direction, and just basics, go back. I never really left church over those years, so continue to go to church and pray the rosary. And within time, he called me and he told me about a Courage conference that was happening in the Bronx back east. Now, I knew about Courage because I have an older sister with same-sex attraction who worked with Father Harvey. She was his first assistant. So I always knew about Courage. I always knew about this thing, but, you know, I was living as I say, for my passion. So I kept it far away from me, for
Right.
years. I was very respectable of her when I used to hear about these conferences and such. And even this little guy, Father Harvey, and I used to see photos of him. But now was the time, like in the fullness of time. I was open and receptive and ready at that moment. And I went to this Courage conference, and it changed my life. It was wonderful.
And what were the aspects of the conference that really touched you?
The members being there, the members. I remember people coming up to me. And the conference was a lot smaller back then. I mean, it was back in 95, but people who had known my sister now know me, and met some wonderful priests. I remember adoration is what did it for me. I never really knew what adoration was, but it just completely opened up my eyes and my heart to God.
Right.
And it was this hope and a sense of, a love. I remember I cried the whole weekend. I would run back to the room. I tell you, it was this gift of tears I just was crying constantly. It was so transforming. It was wonderful. I mean, the conversion experience, when I think back, was like a year in progress. But it was at the conference that it just all happened, and then meeting Father Harvey and meeting some wonderful priests. It all just came together. It was great, wonderful.
And you, as the years went by, you got to spend a lot of time with Father Harvey. I believe he passed away in 2010, right?
Yes, yeah. I did. I in 2004, 5, 6, 2006, I went to work with him. And it was a tremendous experience. I mean, he was just a spiritual father, spiritual grandfather, as a friend of mine would like to say. And he was very pastoral, very passionate, very gentle when he had to, but firm also. I mean, he was a moral theologian, and he did everything for the church and her teaching and for Courage. And when you think about it, I mean, it was his life. I mean, he was going on. I mean, he passed away at 92, but this is a man. He gave him his whole self to Courage, at a time when people, even clergy are retiring. People are going, no, it was his everything. It was his everything. Yeah.
It was such a prophetic voice, I think. Was it 1980 it started? And,
yes, very much so. Yeah, 1980.
And the goals of Courage primarily is chastity, right? And friendship, authentic friendship.
Yeah, chastity, prayer and dedication, giving ourselves to others through Christ, and a spiritual life, reading, keeping up with the sacraments, fellowship, support, and then just being a good example, a good role model. I mean, I just gave you the abridged versions, but 5 goals that we try to do our best to live by.
Right. So, like a Courage chapter, there's 170 chapters. They might meet like once a month for some prayer and fellowship.
Yeah. So ideally, it's great if you can meet weekly, and there are some chapters that do that. But with the inability of priests to serve weekly, I mean, a lot of meetings are twice a month, and there are some meetings that are monthly, though. It's vital. You have to stay connected, with your Courage brothers and sisters. It's just, you can't be a lone ranger in this.
Right. So there's a healing that takes place in that friendship that maybe answers that first seeking you had maybe in the lifestyle, right? That you can find in a pure way.
Very much so. Very much so. And in a way that I didn't even know before entering Courage, of course, because we think that we have to find someone, and we think the world thinks, I thought, let me own it myself, that, it's like sexual activity and all that what's the God all, end all, be all, it's like, and I learned that it's not. Through Courage, I had to get like catechized and recatechized again, and I just learned that there is nothing like authentic, chaste friendship. And it's not a consolation prize, you know. I mean, years ago, I used to, even in the back of my mind, even in my early years with Courage, I still used to toy with, oh, maybe I could still maybe find someone, you know, maybe I can't live like, but I've learned through perseverance and prayer and through my Courage brothers and sisters and by grace that it's like a vocational aspect in my life, you know, of being called to as a single man, and it's very freeing. It's just a deep sense of peace that the world was not giving me, and it took me a while to get there. You know, it's a process. I just heard recently, you know, going with God, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I just heard that somewhere. I thought it might have even been on at Mass, one of your masses. But in any case, I thought it was great. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I like I said, like 5 years ago or something, I met you at a conference, and I remember being struck by the joy. You know, there's a great spirit about it. Some of the members, I was at a shrine up in Chicago, and some of the members were over there, and you could just see it was just a beautiful fellowship you all have, and I think sometimes it happens. You know, like you can identify with friends on a deep level. You're struggling with the same issue. That in some way it's like a privileged space of even a special bond, you know, and helping each other.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very, yeah. Well, and people come together in their woundedness.
Right.
You know,
right.
and there's a not just compassion and empathy there. I'll tell you, and I'm looking forward to the conference again because we missed it last year. I mean, we did via Zoom, because it is like, as others have said, it's a family reunion. You know, it's coming together again, and it's welcoming, lovingly welcoming with open arms any new members or new people coming into the apostolate. You know?
What would you tell, like a young person today? They're given so many messages, I think, you know, pro the lifestyle, and what would you tell a young person out there who's struggling with their sexual attractions?
Well, I think, first of all, what I know now is to be with others who seek Christ is vital. Now, they might not know that so much so, but that is definitely what I was first saying. And what I was saying earlier, I mean, we live in a world that emotions are running everybody's lives. You know, they're making choices per their emotions and passions, and that's not the way to live. I mean, there is a more profound way. I mean, God has another way to live. As you know, it's written in our hearts and it's wired in us. So that's why when we meet the Lord, it's just amazing because it's all there. I mean, it's like He's always calling us, and really our hearts are always looking for Him too. You know, and I would tell also, you know, it's not about perfection. I think there are younger people or people of all ages who you're seeking solitude, you're seeking God, and what happens is it doesn't feel comfortable, right? Or you have a fall, and then you end up throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and it's not about, it's a process. It really is. And just to be patient with oneself is very, very important. And don't listen, again, I say it's easy for me to say where I'm at right now, but don't listen to the world, you know, and, you know, the social media and all that stuff. But, and cry out to God, you know, ask God for help. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that don't do that. Beg for grace. I used to beg for grace.
Yeah.
Lord, help me. Yeah, from the depths of my heart, very much so.
Right. Now tell us about you have a conference coming up soon. Tell us about when and where that is.
So the conference is going to be from July 15th to July 18th at Benedictine College, Atchison, Kansas. And we also have a clergy day on Wednesday, the 14th. So yeah, next month we'll be heading out there. And
you can also, Encourage will be there too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And
yeah,
that's
very,
for
very
family member, friends of people with same-sex attraction? Yeah.
Very, very much so. It's mostly parents, but it's also brothers and sisters, grandparents, spouses, friends. Yeah, it's a big part of the apostolate, Father. I mean, I oversee the emails and the calls that come in, and I'd say 85% of people contacting us right now are parents. Very, very much so.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Angelo, for speaking with us today.
Yeah. This is great. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah. We stay united in prayer, and we're here. We're here for family members, for God's family. We're here.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Stay well. Bye-bye.
Now for our Into the Vineyard challenge. I really enjoyed that interview. There's something we forgot to mention, that the name Courage was chosen by those initial members, and I thought it's such a fascinating name for this group, because they were just convicted that it takes courage to live a chaste life. In our culture today, with our struggles, it takes courage, determination, and Angelo is a wonderful witness to that.
I think, anytime you're struggling with impurity, it's a battle against the self. That you have to overcome the ego, your own love of self, and that's something that does take courage, because we do have appetites in us that a lot of times run contrary to where God wants us to guide us. And we have to learn how to overcome that. And prayer, all that's very important, but just really realizing that we're not alone. And I think one of the things about sexual temptation or any struggle we kind of face is that we get into this the mentality of thinking we're alone on this issue, but it's kind of just broadcasted all around. We all struggle with it in one way or another, but we're not alone. That's the thing. The church is a community, and we're called to be part of that community.
Yeah, so it's very strengthening, and the church's teaching on chastity is not one that leads us to isolation, but as Angelo told us tonight, don't do it alone. Have good, healthy friendships in your life, authentic friendships. Cry out to God. Don't lead a life that just blindly follows your passions, but conform your life to the gospel and form good, healthy friendships, to avoid that loneliness and isolation where Satan can just pick us off or tempt us, or the human flesh, right, can tempt us in such a strong way. So that's our challenge this week. Don't do it alone. Cry out to God. Ask for help. Bond with others. We'll send you into that vineyard with a blessing. May our Heavenly Father shine His face upon you. May He give you His peace. May Almighty God bless you, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. We'll see you next week on Life on the Rock.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
Yeah, who said you can't be a saint? Boy, I think you can do it. Persevere, gotta push through it when you're feeling down. Gotta renew it, don't just lose it. Listen to music, life is a journey, no cruising through it. But there's holiness in the everyday, I know that I can prove it. Going to school, going to church, cooking some dinner, a job as a clerk, just keep it up. Do your duties well and let Him do the work. You're a baby, you're a brother, you're a teacher, you're a mother, just keep it up. Do your duties well and let Him do the work.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
Yeah, times are tough, gotta get up no matter how rough. Saint ain't nothing but a sinner who never gave up. I'ma never give up. I can, you can, we can, everybody rise up, knocking at your door, knocking at your door, knocking at your door, cause I wanna be more. Lord, let me in, cause I wanna give it out, give my life, so I put on Christ. Peter, Paul, John, James, free from my chains and I'm on the chain, following Christ with all that I got, spirit filled when I run this race, rise up with them saints until I see Him face to face.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.